Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome to Game of Thrones, the board game digital edition by Direwolf Digital, who produced many other games. Though not all Game of Thrones games, you could think that by their name because it's way too appropriate. Anyway, we're going to be playing a game today, probably, I'm thinking it's the Baratheons, because they're a good stuff. They've probably got like a slight advantage. I've been playing a lot of this game. In fact, I ended up spending my birthday playing it with a bunch of friends over the internet, which is the miracle of digital board games. And lockdown is, hey, we might not be able to go to each other's houses, but we can still play them online. Now, please bear in mind, this is a sponsored video. It is sponsored, of course, by Asmodee and then Direwolf Digital, the producers. So there'll be a link down below. If you do wish to go check out the game, you may do so. But we are going to be diving in with a skirmish mode, and we will play deliberately as the Baratheon faction, who start over here at Dragonstone. And everything else is good. Start the game. So, unfortunately, I lost the save for the continuation of our previous game as the Starks, but considering a lot of people had said, hey, your intro was great, kind of understand how to play the game now, I don't need to continue that necessarily and explain more how to play the game. So, when that's said and done, we're going to be playing this a little bit faster. I'm going to explain more my strategy and less the game mechanics unless they become, like, really important. Baratheons have an interesting start, and they're probably the most powerful faction on the board, just because they have so many options. For instance, of course, you can go up here, you can attack the Starks, you can try and control the Vale, you can go into the Lannisters, you can go into the Tyrells, and of course you can go down to Dorne. The probably two big factions you'll be going up against will be the Dornish and the Starks for expansion. The middle of the map just tends to be a bit of a free-for-all. You can get it, sure, but it ends up just being like a whole bunch of people fighting. So, turn one. There is a really cunning move you can make turn one, which we are going to do. I'm going to make that... Actually, we'll make that a -1. We'll make that a +0. And we'll make that a support +1. Yeah. So we start with Dragonstone, we start with a couple of boats out here, and we start with the Kingswood. Now, the one thing you really need to know as the Baratheons is that King's Landing is right here, and it's not held by you. It is held by a 5 neutral force, which means that you need to have 5 attack power to take it. As the Baratheons, you can do a turn 1 play to take it. Boat to there, knight to here, which makes this a support of 4. Footman to here. Footman is 1 plus support of 4. 5. King's Landing. King's Landing is amazing because it is 2 crowns, which means that when you like consolidate power there, you get 3 power. In addition to the fact it's a stronghold, so it has a mustering value of 2 anyway. It also has access to a castle here. Harrenhal's nearby. The Kingswood is a barrel and a crown, so you have extra power there. You've got Storm's End nearby as well. You've got the Reach. Like, it's a very good location to support or just to consolidate power. It's really, really useful for that. So we're going to be playing a turn 1 King's Landing play. It's a very typical play for Barathea. Barathea? Barathea. The Baratheons. Barathea. You'll note, by the way, that we are top on the Iron Throne, as you might expect. However, we're pretty low down on the fiefdom tracker, and we only have 1 special order on the messenger tracker, which kind of sucks. So we're looking to improve that situation. Okay. Right. Obvious first march order. Blackwater Bay. Blackwater Bay is incredible because you can support 1, 2, 3 important provinces here and make them very tough to take. And Shipbreaker Bay also has kind of that going for it. Yeah, classic River Run, Sea Road Marches. Kalin, yeah, really easy, obvious starts from the AI here. Where are they going with that? Storm's End? No, Starfall, yeah. Now, while the Baratheons are considered like the most powerful faction, in inverted commas, the one who have probably the least advantageous start is gonna be the Lannisters. Sheerly because they're up against the Baratheons to an extent here, but also because they have the Greyjoys right nearby, and the Greyjoys are strong. They aren't the strongest, but they are strong. So the Lannister's actually in the worst position, really. Lannister's playing their 0. Ah, they retreat to the Blackwater. That's actually annoying, because that means that A, they get 2 barrels, and B, they're threatening King's Landing, so I can't consolidate power here in future. Right, so, important. We move the knight first. Knight to Kingswood. Why not attack with the knight? Well, honestly, then we'd have a knight stuck in King's Landing, and we'd be like, right, do we want to use the knight just to consolidate? It's a waste of a 2-power knight. I'd rather have a 1-power footman consolidating. Knights are incredible at support. And you might think, well, why aren't you attacking the knight? Well, support, if you lose a battle, you don't risk your support unit. Your support unit is fantastic because it adds its power to the battle, but it isn't risked. So you can support with a knight, get that 2 power, and you don't have to risk it. Whereas, you know, you can send a footman in, the footman might die. Not as important. And then the 2, 1, and +1 support. King's Landing is ours. That puts a lot of threat on King's Landing to start with. It's not a really particularly good start for us. But it does make the Lannisters incredibly open to attack from the Greyjoys. Yes, muster. That's exactly what I wanted. If we hadn't mustered, we'd be in some trouble, but with the muster. So, we can muster 2 at Dragonstone, and, because it's a stronghold, 2 at King's Landing, which is fantastic. So, what we'll be doing is probably going 2 footmen. Try and take Crackle Point and the Reach. And then if we can get Blackwater in future, that'd be great. Maybe we can move out to Storm's End or something. Yeah, I'm thinking 2 footmen. Would that mean that we'd go over our limit? No. We do need barrels. We've only got 2 at the moment. Dragonstone and Kingswood. It's the issue that you have as the Baratheons is that barrels are a little bit more of an issue. Like, the closest barrel you have is Blackwater. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, I've got Kingswood. I've got Dragonstone. Blackwater's the nearest. The other choice, of course, is to go up into the Fingers, and that's probably what we're going to do next. So, I'm going to spawn 2 footmen. And then in Dragonstone, we'll spawn a single footman. And then a ship, and then our ship is going to go up to the Narrow Sea. Okay. Lannisters and Tyrell made a pact. That's not great. I would like to make a pact with the Martells, because if I can avoid that... Yes, sweet. Each player collects 1 crown for each crown icon they control. Well, we own King's Landing, so that's pretty good for us. We'll get, what, 4? Yeah, 9 power. Greyjoys are also 9 power, because they did take Seaguard, but... Normally the Greyjoys have a problem with power. That's actually the Greyjoy problem, is that you see they have Pike, they take Seaguard at the start. Okay, that's still only 2 crowns, but they did take River Run now. River Run's under threat, of course, from the Lannisters. And raid orders cannot be played. Okay. That kind of would normally be a big benefit in some ways, but for now, so these guys... This is definitely a support order. Blackwater Bay. That way it's supporting these 3 if we get attacked. Kingswood, we could move into Storm's End, claim that castle. The victory condition in this game, by the way, is... wrong one. Strongholds and castles. The person to get to 7 instantly wins. Or at the end, the person with the most. So, castles are important. If we could get Storm's End, Dragonstone, King's Landing, Crackle Point, and the Reach, that would be 5. And then we could get the Eyrie, and then we just have to take like 1 more. So I'm thinking King's Landing is probably going to be like a plain old march. This is going to be a muster. This will want to march up here. What if they march first? Now, worst case scenario, we can march into port, and then we can just do a consolidate whatever in port. I'd love to use a march from here because we can march to Storm's End. And claim that. In theory, we could... Because if we claim Storm's End, then because we've got an alliance, the AI does backstab you. I've definitely seen the AI backstab a couple of times now. But they're not likely to do it immediately. Like, there's a good chance that we'll just be able to take Storm's End for a while. If we get there first, it's ours. If they get there first, then we have to break our alliance, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather be able to focus on these two, because these two have an alliance now, which does not bode well for us, because we're going to take the full force of the Lannisters instead of the Lannisters having the Tyrells to fight. The Lannisters are going to get worn down by the Greyjoys, though. So, now, of course, I could get rid of the Consolidate Power Order. And I could merely use a... I could use a Consolidating King's Landing instead, because there's no raid, so they can't get rid of that. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have spawned the 2 footmen over here, and then, yeah, I could have... No, I think we're still good. Because I knew the lack of raid orders were coming. I think this is the right choice. That's supporting... Do we want to consolidate power here? You know what? No. I think we're better off this being an attack +1, this being a plain old attack, and this being an attack -1. What we'll do is we'll keep the knight there so that the knight can then support, but we'll move the footman to Storm's End. Yeah, that's a lot of move orders. Oh, the Starks are going power hungry. Damn. Okay. Are they at risk of taking Storm... They're not at risk of taking Storm's End. None of them are moving. In fact, they're consolidating here. The only thing they can really do is get more ships, and even then I don't think they can... weird. Oh, they could. They can move from Starfall up to here. The question is, do we think they'll move to Starfall, or do we think they'll move from the Blackwater to the Reach? If they move from the Blackwater to the Reach, I will take the Blackwater, though. I'm quite happy with doing that. We've actually options, because if we move up to here, we could go for Flint's Fingers on the Mountains of the Moon, because we can just travel through unlimited number of ships. I'm actually going to move the ship first. It's controversial, but because I can react, and I can choose to attack different places, I think this is the right choice. Hey, if they attack me, we're strong as well. Okay, so they move to there. Huh. Why would they both move to Saltshore? Okay. Fight for Harrenhal. I'm a little concerned by this. Because if the Greyjoys aren't really fighting the Starks get pretty strong. They actually are really good at power. And the Greyjoys will pretty easily take out the Lannisters. And a Greyjoy that's pumped with Lannister land is actually incredibly scary. Okay, so they did take the Reach from the Tyrell area. Fine. We could attack with a knight into there. Have they used... They've still got Solaris. I might let this kick off first. Because there's a chance that they won't just attack King's Landing, because that'll be a tough fight for them. They'll be attacking 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, they do have 3 themselves. And they do have a 4 card. Okay. So that would suck. But also, if I do move, they all attack and I'll have less strength. So... And I'm higher than them on this turn order, so I just need to play my 4. I could play my 4 and we could win the defense. Hell, I could play my 3, actually. So yeah, I don't want to do that yet. I want to move from Kingswood. So we'll move from Kingswood. The question is, we could move a knight into there, but then they might attack my knight. I don't want to do that. We could just not go Storm's End. We can instead go up here, get a barrel. I think it stands, though. I think we go Storm's End. As, like, normal as that is. Record point. Leave the Blackwater undefended. I'm kind of happy about that. They've used their 3 as well. Yep, they take Starfall. That's why it was weird leaving Starfall so undefended. Martells are just getting themselves murdered. Like, Martells are not long for this game. Right, our march order. Now, we could just march 2 units up to here, get one in the fingers, one in the mountains of the moon, and just be like, hey, we've got loads of barrels now. Because right now, 2 barrels is really limiting what armies we can have. We can have 1-3, 1-2, 1-2, and that's it. And we really need more, so I'm actually really tempted to do that, because we can stay strong at King's Landing, maybe consolidate again at Dragonstone, do a defense, do support, and like, that is a very strong position. But also we could just take Blackwater and then try and hold it, although I don't know if we can. There's no point taking a province if you can't hold it, really. You'd have it for 1 turn. We could take Crackle Point. We would be attacking with 1 footman minimum, +1, plus the support. It'd be 3 against 1. They could play their 4, which means that they'd be 5. I would need to play a 2. We'd draw. I'd win the tie. I think that might be worth it. We can just play 1 footman up to there and guarantee Crackle Point from now on. And that also gives access to Matters of the Moon. So 1 footman up to Crackle Point. You can only do 1 attack. So although you can move multiple units, you can only do 1 attack. The other choice is like, do we attack the Blackwater? The other reason for attacking the Blackwater is if we own it, they can't raid King's Landing, which means we can consolidate power there and get a whole lot of power. I don't know if we can. If we were to attack here, it would be a 2 versus 2. They'd play their 4. I'd have to play my 4. We could win both Crackle Point and the Reach, but we'd have to pick one because we can only do 1 attack. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, the question is, do we take the Blackwater? I think we could. On the basis if we can support from King's Landing next turn, and then we can try and take the Reach somehow, like a turn or 2 later. If we get a muster card, though, we can take it earlier. So, definitely you into Crackle Point. And then you... I think we go Blackwater. The other choice is to go Matters of the Moon, and then we could support... If you support, and obviously don't get raided by that, because that's likely just raiding you. If you support with +1, we could attack with 4 there, take the Eyrie. Yeah, the Eyrie's tough to take. It's decent, it's just for 6, is it worth it? That said, Matters of the Moon is unlikely to be attacked. Like, it's a good barrel that is unlikely to be taken. But I think we take the Blackwater because it defends King's Landing. It's just too good for that. And we could move the last unit and then move a unit in next turn. But I can't guarantee we're going to be on top of the Iron Throne track, and I want to be able to defend King's Landing. So we're just going to say yes to that. We're being supported. We play a 2. Even if they play the 4, we know we win. There we go. And that uses their 4 as well. And because they played the 4, it doesn't have a defense. It actually kills it rather than it retreating. Otherwise, it would retreat to Matters of the Moon. There we go. Everyone went pretty hard on power. The Greyjoy's on 12. Okay, bid is coming up. And we... Oh! This is perfect for us. This is actually, like, the best setup we could have wanted. Adjust supply track. We literally just grabbed the Blackwater. So, that's much better. Bid on the influence tracks. We are one of the highest influence people in the game right now. It's us and the Greyjoys. And then Wildling attack. Now, this is a tough choice. So... bidding on the influence track. Here is my meta. And this is like actually really, really good tip. I thoroughly recommend it. Like when I was playing the other day with some friends for my birthday, I was basically like, right, guys, I'm gonna need to tell you how this works because I feel like I have an unfair advantage. When everyone has a lot of power, you have a different bidding strategy to when there's only a little bit of power each, okay? So This is considered probably a lot of power. It's not as high as it could be, but it's definitely, I would say, the high end. When you have little power, like say people have got between 0 and 4, the bidding range of how much people can bid on each thing is pretty small. It's 0 to 4, and people are likely to not go 4 and then have 0 for anything else. They're probably going to bid like 1, maybe 0. Someone might bid 2 or 3. Like, the bidding range is really small, so you'll have a lot of ties. Whoever controls the Iron Throne decides ties. If there is a low amount of power, go for the Iron Throne. Because then you can bid like 0 or 1 on these and still actually win a lot. Because you decide the tie. Like, hey, if you bid on the Iron Throne and get top, like one person bids, 2, load of people bid 1, including you, and some bid 0, you know you're going to be in second place. Because you can just be like, I'm second. That's good. When there's a lot more power, however, the Iron Throne becomes less important. Because the bidding range is so wide, you're less likely to be deciding ties. So in general, when power is low, go for the Iron Throne. When power is high, it's kind of more important to go for the messenger tracker. Because you need those special orders. Because for a start, when you've got a lot of terrain, like you own a lot of land, that's just extra orders. Which is useful. And secondly, they're better. So the messenger track is incredibly important. The top slot, less so, but you certainly want to be top 3, probably top 2. Now, there is a weird situation here for us in that we already own the Iron Throne, so when we bid for the Iron Throne and there's a tie, we'll still get to decide. So in this case, I probably am going to bid higher on the Iron Throne than I normally would. So I'm going to bid, like, I think I'm going to just bid for, I do want to get the messenger tracker. I'm going to bid 4. Okay. So we get to decide ties here. I'm going to put the Greyjoys above the Lannisters. And then the Lannisters, Starks, Tyrells don't really matter. The Lannisters and Tyrells have an agreement going on. But since I put the Greyjoys above the Starks, above the Lannisters, I want the Lannisters to be able to attack the Tyrells. So that's fine as an order. Starks can go last. It doesn't really matter. Now, the fiefdom tracker, honestly, not super important. I'm going to bid, like, probably 1 or 2 here. Now, bear in mind, we do have a Wildling attack coming up, so don't spend everything. I'm going to bid 2. So we're second place behind the Greyjoys. That's fine. It means that everyone that we're up against, because we're not really going to be fighting the Greyjoys particularly, I mean, in theory not, we're going to beat. So we get choice here. I'm going to put the Martells above, and then who do we want to attack each other? I mean, these guys, do we want? We want the Martells to have an advantage over the Tyrells. Starks and Lannisters aren't going to fight, so it doesn't matter. That's fine. Okay. And then for this tracker, it's 3, I think, because we decide the tie, so I think we'll go 3. We're top of this tracker. People are saving up their power. Okay. Now, this tie is incredibly important. Being able to decide who gets special orders is massive. So, do you want the Lannisters or the Starks having special orders? Honestly, I'm going to say the Lannisters, because the Starks have a really strong position, and the Lannisters have, like, 1 that is disconnected, and 2... provinces, one of which is literally just a crown. Like, the Lannisters is such an awkward position, I don't mind them having special orders, because they can't really use them very effectively. This is a really good position for us. And the Wildling attack. Here we could get screwed. Luckily, it's only 4 power we need to beat, so I'm just going to chip in 1. Highest bidder. The Wildlings immediately attack again with a strength of 6. God damn it. Okay, this is possibly the worst we could have had, because we get to decide who doesn't bid again out of the Lannisters and the Greyjoys. Choose the house to receive the highest bidder. I'm going to say the Lannisters, because the Greyjoys have more power, so I want to drain that power. I don't want to be, like, two reasons. One, I don't want to have a challenger for high amounts of power. And secondly, the Greyjoys can waste power on this next attack. I'm going to have to spend the power here, which sucks. But it needs to be done. Okay, lowest bidder. Discard all available power. Everyone else discards 2 available power. Hey, this is actually fine. We have 0 power. This is great. And the Greyjoys have to discard all available power. They have 5. They didn't bid anything. They're actually losing all their power. This is actually really, really good for us. Yeah, I'm totally okay with this. That means that Starks have 1, Lannisters still have 3, everyone else is on 0. That's completely fine. Like, I cannot begin to describe how okay with that I am. We're going to give support orders. This is probably going to be a support order as well, because I don't know if they're going to attack me. We do have an alliance, but that's still a possibility. But the support order will help all our land around here. The only one it won't help is King's Landing. Yeah. Here, honestly, unless we're planning to do an attack on the eyrie, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to say a raid for now. I'd like to consolidate here. We have the options. These are the tough ones. Like, we have no power, so we can't leave somewhere undefended without, you know, losing control of it, which I don't want to do. I think King's Landing is probably going to be a support. It could be a defend. I'm going to change Blackwater Bay to a support +1, because that's not raidable. Do that. You can be a defend +2. You can be a defend. You can be a consolidate power. I know there's no bonus here, like there's no crown, so we're just going to get the 1 power, but I don't think the Dornish are going to raid us. And normally I'd say support on you. But we could just go consolidate, and if they have a raid, fine, they raid us. But they'd raid us and they'd get 1 power, and we would lose 1. We're on 0 already, so like there's not as much to lose. I think that's the right option. The other choices we play defend. If they do attack us, we already have support from King's Landing in the Blackwater Bay and Shipbreaker Bay. Like, we have such a strong defense here. I don't think it's necessary. My only concern if they attack King's Landing, because then we have only +2, but they have poor cards, so I think we're good. Again, we're not really moving this turn. We're trying to lock down what we have. We do need a muster, or, you know, we're just going to consolidate at Dragonstone. This is good. Don't expand too quickly. You can't defend. So, yep, they raided. Now, here's the fun part. We can look at the top of the Wildling deck, which probably won't trigger. Wildling strength is low. Or we can replace the token. They're going to raid that. So I'm going to replace this token. And we could totally attack the Reach. Like, we'd lose control of the Kingswood, which would suck, though. But it would mean King's Landing would be safe. They're raiding. I hope they don't raid us. Do we want to attack the Reach? I think we do. Like, let's just double check, right? They have a 2 and a 1. Yeah, Tyrion sucks because he can make me, like, play a different house card. Fine. But we'd be supported. So we'd be 2v2. We'd have an advantage. We also have the advantage in ties. They can only play a 2. We could play a 1 and still win. We could play Melisandre. I think we do it. Like, we lose control of the Kingswood. Fine. Raid, and I'm going to raid this support, maybe? Like, it honestly doesn't really matter unless they get attacked here in, like, White Harbor. We could raid Moat Cailin, but Moat Cailin's not going to do anything because they can't raid anywhere. They're not adjacent. So, yeah, raid Shivering Sea. They get rid of that support. Ah, yeah, they get rid of that support. Okay. That's still fine. We can still beat them. Obvious. I forgot that the Reach would do that. Right. We attack. It's going to be 2v2. They have a 2. So do we. Admittedly, like, Davos Seaworth is a 3 if we've used Stannis, so... Do we want to do this? It would mean King's Landing is free to produce power. Yes, we do. It does reduce our supply track, but... And then we play a 2. Davos Seaworth. Yeah, they play Tyrion. If you force them to play a different card... I play Melisandre. And the kill will do the job. Yeah, that was worth it. Because we kill their knight. Oh, now this is dangerous, actually, because they could get the Kingswood. Oh, God. Lannisters will be down to Lannisport only. This is actually scary. I don't... Okay, good, good. Oh, no! They bring out the Valyrian sword for being top on the... Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to be fighting the Greyjoys this much. It also means that the Starks aren't being fought, which means the Starks get to, like, run away with us. There we go, into Starfall. Are they being supported from the Summer Sea? No. Oh, Red Viper. Yeah, right, they play their 4. The Martells don't have, like, a lot of tricky cards, but they do have a lot of cards that just are decent. And we're gonna get Power in Storm's End. Yep, produce units. And then we're going to muster. And as much as I kind of want to produce units, I also kind of want to produce ships. Ships can give us reliable power. We are a little bit low on power. I think we produce a footman and a ship. And we're going to produce the ship in the port. Because you can use that to generate power. If we need to, we can move it out. Oh, this is actually pretty decent for us. Recruit new units. We own a whole lot of stuff. That's actually incredible for us. Okay. Yeah, that's... Yeah, it's tough to describe how good that is for us, but having a muster right now when we've just grabbed, like, what have we got? 5 castles? Yeah, 2 of them strongholds. That basically gives us the game. Like, game is basically set, done, we're good. I think we grab a ship in the port, because again, we can use that to get power, and that kind of just is going to lock us down for the rest of the game with good power. King's Landing, we could get a ship in the Blackwater Bay. We only have 1 more, though, but that will support the Blackwater Bay. The alternative is to get one up to here in the Narrow Sea. I kind of think that might be a better option. I think for now, we could just play 2 footmen. Oh, no, we get a siege engine, and we can send the siege engine to the Eyrie at some point. The Reach... I'm going to say a footman here because we can move the footman to the Kingswood. Bracklaw Point. Bracklaw Point can put a ship in here, which locks the Narrow Sea pretty heavily for us. And then Dragonstone. We could go Siege Engine. Kind of that or a knight. Because, again, we can only go to 3 units in one place, and we've got 2 at the moment. We're out of ships. Okay, so we know we're going to be getting a footman here. The question is, what do we upgrade to? Do we upgrade to a knight, or do we upgrade to a siege engine? I'm gonna say we're probably better off with a knight. We move knight to Mountains of the Moon, which will support. Siege engine into the Eyrie, done. That's, you know, not counting supporting with these boats. I If we support with these boats, that's 2, 3, 4, 5 if it's a +1, or 5 if it's an attack +1. We can attack even with just a footman. So we're going to upgrade to a knight. It's a little bit scary how strong the Greyjoys are, though. The Blackwater is our weak spot. Okay, now, Dark Wings, Dark Deeds. This is great. We get to choose. Everyone bids an influence track. Everyone collects influence. Or this card, no effect. Look how much influence we have in our control. 1, 2, 3... Is it just 3? Yeah, it's just 3. Okay, well, still, 3 is good. It's a shame we don't have Kingswood, we get 4. But we're about to fight Wildlings, and we do need some influence. So I'm going to say that. I don't want to bid. That's terrible. No effect would also be somewhat decent. I'm just trying to think if we come off better. Oh, the Greyjoys would get 5. Ugh. Might actually be better off saying 0. Like nothing happens. The Starks would get 1. The Greyjoys would come off better. But I still think we're in a better position to take this. Yeah, I'm going to say everyone collects power. And then Wildlings attack. I'm going to just bid 1. It's power 2? Hell, we got this in the bag. I'm going to bid 0. Because, you know, unless we bid a lot of our power... I'm surprised that someone only bid 2. Mary plays 2 as footman with knights. That's nice. It's not super necessary, though. But I'm kind of glad the Martells got it. They needed it. In fact, the Martells could only replace 1 footman because they'd have gone above their... Huh, I don't know why that was. Right, anyway. We need to capture back our supply because our supply is actually 3 right now, and if the supply updates, then we're going to be forced down from 4 to 3. It only updates when a card says so, so... Now we're okay. We need to take Kingswood immediately, so I'm going to say an attack -1 just to get us in there. It doesn't need to be an attack because we're just going for it. We already know what you're doing because you're just consolidating power. Boats in port, doing their thing. We could move a boat in future in here to support, but for now, Blackwater Bay is a support. Shipbreaker Bay is also a support. The question is what we do with the people in Dragonstone. And it's certainly a move order of some kind. Because we want to move a footman. Actually, the footman doesn't need to move, technically. Okay, what we can do is footman up to the fingers. Cavalry over to Mountains of the Moon. Next turn, support, and then footman comes down from the fingers, and we can just hold control of it or something. That way we'd still have the barrel if we needed. That's probably the right call. Debating what we do at King's Landing. Kind of tempted just to go consolidate power again. Like, we could do a move order. And then you're a defend. You're a defend. A support might be more beneficial because we'd actually be able to support the reach as well. Storm's End. I don't know what to do with Storm's End, in all honesty. It's just sitting there and I'm like, okay. It is a castle. If we move our unit out, by the way, even if we invest power into keeping it, the AI will be like, you're not defending it, so I'm allowed it. There's a reason for that. It's so that if you're playing with people and you make an alliance, and you deliberately decide to trade a province, you can let it go and then it gets taken or whatever. We're gonna probably just... Like, you could be anything. It doesn't matter. We're not going to use you. Question is what we're doing King's Landing. Narrow Sea, I think what we do is we go raid. In case they try to generate power at port or something. Probably not going to. We don't need support. 1, 2, 3. Oh! No, there is a chance we could take the eyrie this turn. If we support +1 and we attack +1, the knight will be 3. That power there will be 3. We can take the eyrie. And, hey, if they cancel that with a raid, fine. It doesn't really do anything to us. We're like, oh, well, okay, we'll just take something instead and we'll try again next turn. Like, that's fine. That just means we can't support from King's Landing, which means that the Blackwater and the Reach are no longer supported. But you are defending, you are defending. The reach is the one that I'm a little bit funny about. I think we just do a plain move, or we can consolidate. You know what? Let's consolidate power. I just want the power. Don't care about anything else. Storm's End. We can't consolidate power here. You know what? Let's do a move order on that ship. Let's do consolidate power instead. And that way we can get that ship into Shipbreaker Bay, and then we can support better here. That will use up another one of our arm. Oh, no. In fact, I don't think we can do that. Oh, if we can do that, but only after we separate the reach. Right. Then that will be fine. Supply trucker stuff. Cool. Only thing I'm going to change here is just in case. Actually, that's fine. It's this one here. This one is less likely to see a fight. This one possibly could see a fight if it's not the first order we play. It is going to be the first order we play, though. That's going to be the very first move of the turn, so it doesn't matter. We could potentially be attacked at sea by the Martells. Sure. Okay. Confirm orders. What are they doing? Okay. Yes, they are not raiding us. The Starks are not raiding, which is perfect. So we can take the Eyrie this turn. This is going to put us into for potential just 7 castle grab. We've got 5. That'll be 6. We have the potential here to just get a really strong win. Like, incredibly quickly. I don't want to replace any tokens. I'm actually kind of happy with this. I'm looking at the top of the Wildling deck. Mammoth Raiders. Destroy 3 of his units anywhere. Everyone destroys 2 of their units everywhere. Highest bidder may retrieve 1 house card of your choice from the house card discard pile. I'm going to keep it on top because right now I think I'm going to be a good place for power and it's going to be a low DC. So I'm going to keep it on top because I think we can force a win. Hell, even if we have a fail on it, we have more units. We're kind of better off. Yep, they chose not to raid me. Thank you. Right, very first order. It's going to be Kingswood for you. Done. Okay, they're attacking on -1 from here. Interesting choice. You moved into... Okay, Martell's just having a weird day. Seaguard is preparing for an attack on Moat Cailin. Old Town just takes Starfall because the Martells are being weird. That's fine. Weird. Weird, but fine. Okay, they retreat to White Harbor. We aren't gonna be attacked. There's no threat here. Okay, that's 3, so that into the Eyrie. And then you into Mountains of the Moon, because then you can support Crackle Point if you need to. We don't need to. Do we want to move the last one? Also, like, claim the fingers or something? No, not really. We do have a +1. I wonder if there's, like, a castle we could grab this turn and just go for the win. Sunspear is, like, a 6 strength because you've got the 2 garrison. The thing counts as a 0. We couldn't get to Sunspear anyway. Yeah, there's no win we can make this turn. We could, like, potentially go to Crackle Point and prepare for, like, something. I think there is a possibility that we attack White Harbor with our siege tower because we can go into Blackwater Bay, into Shipbreaker Bay, into the Narrow Sea, up to White Harbor. So that's a possibility. Depends what the Starks have got, what they got. They have got Eddard Stark. They haven't had a single fight. They haven't used a single card. What? I think we leave one at Dragonstone. Yeah. There we go. We have ourselves the Eyrie. That's 6 castles. We just need a 7th. We did have a really good turn too. Like, the cards incredibly benefited us. Okay, they're choosing to attack into Starfall. Huh, okay. You could have just defended it. Loras Tyrell is an amazing card, by the way. If you're attacking and win this combat, move the march order into the conquered area. You may use this march order later this round. Like, Loras Tyrell, you get to attack. And then you can move the march order where you attacked, and then you attack again. And you can do even crazier things, because potentially, if when you use Loras Tyrell, you end up having to discard Loras Tyrell, and then you manage to redraw in the same turn, and then when you have that march order that you moved, and move that again with Loras Tyrell when you attack, like, you could potentially chain your moves and attack, like, in 3 provinces. It's nuts. Like, Loras Tyrell can just be incredible when played properly. Unfortunately, the Tyrells are kind of just otherwise. They've got nothing interesting around them. They've got good supply, but no really easy access to castles. And then we're going to play boat to Shipbreaker Bay. And let's claim some power. And then I think, honestly, we might go muster, because we could potentially just get a win here if we hit White Harbor. The issue is they have their 4, but we have Stannis, and we're higher up on the tracker. We just need to make sure that we can beat whatever their number is. Currently, it's 3 plus a defend of 2. We could potentially raid that out, or we could support ourselves. I think what we do is we raid that out. I'm going to say we muster, because we could potentially just get the win instantly next turn. So, muster. Straight up buy a siege engine. Hold the Iron Throne, choose one of the following. Every update supply and reconciles armies. Everyone musters units, or this card has no effect. We could muster units. I'm trying to think what the benefit would be. Also, why is this? This is 3 units, and I'm checking my supply, and it's telling me that I don't have a 3 unit. What? I'm trying to think what we should do here, because reconciling supply isn't really going to hurt the people we need it to hurt. Also, do the North just have 1 barrel? Oh my god, the North just have 1 barrel. If they went down to 1 barrel, they'd be able to have a 3 and a 2 and nothing else. Oh, they only have a 3 and a 2 and nothing else at the moment anyway. Yeah, mustering units, they couldn't get any more in White Harbor. They'd be able to muster in White Harbor, which would mean they'd get a boat. But they can't have a boat there, because that would make a 2 and they don't have the supply for it. Mustering would actually really, really hurt the Starks. Because they couldn't, again, muster in Winterfell, because they wouldn't be able to put a boat down, and they can't put more in there. Moat Cailin couldn't do... The Starks wouldn't be able to do a muster. And we go first. Which means that we can make King's Landing... Yeah, we muster. King's Landing. Upgrade to a knight. Just get the extra power. That's all we need. And then we have to skip mustering. Storm's End. I'm going to say upgrade to a knight. Crackle Point. Upgrade to a knight. The Reach. I guess. Give me a footman. And then we can't muster anywhere else. The Lannisters and the Greyjoy made a pact. Literally, that means the Lannisters have a pact with... They can't... The Lannisters can't actually do anything. They can only go into the Sea Road Marches. And then they have a pact with those guys, but they can still go there. And then they can maybe attack the Reach. Each player collects power. We have 14. Same as the Greyjoys. Put the sword. The holder of the Valyrian Steel chooses. Defense orders cannot be played. March +1 cannot be played, or no restrictions. I hope they pick defense, but they normally pick March +1. Oh, they pick no restrictions. Okay. Okay with that. Okay, really, really obvious move here. We pick Raid Special Order, because the Special Order Raid can remove a defense token, and no other one can. So we attack White Harbor with that, get rid of that. They might still have like a support order from Winterfell. It's unlikely, though. Winterfell's too good, and they need to get those units out. What else do we want? King's Landing is going to be attack +1. I am putting all my eggs in one basket there. Like, I don't see a reason not to, because it's fantastic. We could move from the Eyrie, go to, like, the Twins or the Fingers. I think we support here, because that supports Crackle Point. The Reach, I think we go support as well. Defend. Generate power. Generate power. Muster / generate power. Storm's End. It doesn't matter. Blackwater Bay. Normally I go to support, but we're at support orders. I used all my special orders already. Whoops. Huh. We get a special order back? No, we kind of want all of our special orders. We used the raid. We need that. We used the attack. We don't necessarily need that, but that could be the win, so we have to play it. We're going to move from the eyrie. You know what? We'll change you to a move so we can support we can just move an extra one into Blackwater. And then Blackwater Bay can then be support instead. And Storm's End, it literally doesn't matter. I'll take a move -1 because I can, maybe. I don't know. No, we'll take a move -1 in Shipbreaker Bay. We'll send someone into the Blackwater to help that. I mean, do we need to support the Blackwater? The only province that will be attacked probably is Krakow, which can be supported from here. I won't actually do that. I guess we'll put a raid order down because I can. And I guess we'll put a march -1 again because I can. Yeah. Okay. And then Eyrie, raid order, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay, so Quivering Sea is supporting White Harbor. White Harbor is supporting, which, honestly, we're better off just removing that, although we would have been better off supporting, but I think we used all our supports, right? Oh, are we not supporting +1? We've got a support here. Do we have our support +1 available? Because we could switch that to a support +1. We'd have 3, they'd get 1. We'd be better off. Let's double check this. We've got support there. Where's our other support? There. We didn't use our support +1. Then we get to choose a raid order, and I'm going to choose not to raid. Why would you put a... Oh, I guess the same reason I'd put a raid order, because you don't really care. Yeah, they get rid of the order down there. You literally can't raid anyone. Okay, let's move everything from King's Landing. And you just sail right through the Vale. Cool. And yes, we'll spend... No, we don't need to spend the power, actually. We could just move a unit in there later on. No. 11v4. 14v4. House Stark... You just check. There is nothing you can play here. And I can play Patchface, which, FYI, is the best 0 card in the game. Because at the end of the combat, look at your opponent's hand. You may force them to discard a card of your choice. So, you can force the enemy to use a good card, like, just by threatening them. And then in addition to using that good card with your 0, you can then make them discard another important card. Like, you can just be like, hey, goodbye to your 4 if you haven't used it. I'm going to play Patchface. Like, we could then be like, hey, goodbye to Eddard Stark. You didn't play your 4, so I'm going to use your 4. And then, yes, get rid of Eddard Stark. Did that give us 7? Oh, it gave us 6. I miscounted. Oh, well. Doesn't matter. We'll finish this in a second anyway. We can march on Winterfell next turn. Oh, we don't have King's Landing. That's why. Technically, we don't have control of 7 because I didn't hold King's Landing. We'll have that in literally a second. Don't worry. That's why. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't count correctly. Oh no, it's fine. My tactic still works because then I do this. Boom! Greyjoy were getting very threatening there. But the Lannisters getting squished really gave us a bit of a chance because we weren't under threat. Honestly, I got to hand it to that second turn, like, batch of cards. They really helped. So it's number of strongholds, followed by area, followed by supply, followed by the throne tracker, I believe is the order of, like, how you decide. So it's like, hey, if you're tied on castles, you go to area. We just dominated that. Baratheon are definitely the strongest faction. Just give you so many options. You have a good access to a number of things nearby. They do have their downsides, obviously. They don't have the strongest cards, and King's Landing is attackable from many directions, but they have so many choices. Baratheon's the strongest. Definitely. Not miles the strongest by any means, no. But they are the strongest faction by a little. The Lannisters equally are the weakest, and I'd probably say they are weaker than the Baratheons are strong, just because they're right next to the Greyjoys. They're squished in a number of places, and the only things they have to go for are things that are under attack by a lot of people. Anyway, this has been the Game of Thrones Board Game Digital Edition, playing the Baratheons, going for a bit of a quicker game. Hopefully you enjoyed this bit more like strategic, in-depth, talky type thing. Hope it all made sense. Maybe. It's sponsored by Asmodee, produced by Direwolf Digital. There's a link down below. You can go check the game out if you so wish. Again, like, here's a sponsored video, so I'm gonna try and avoid the bias thing, but I did spend my birthday playing it, so, you know, I guess that's saying something. Anyway, that's it from me. Like, subscribe, comment down below if you enjoyed the video. Do the bell icon, whatever you need to do with YouTube. But thank you so much. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Stay shiny.